First up, news from France. After the Malaysian government, the Macron administration in France has decided to launch a battle against fake news. Politicians in France are currently debating a new law to fight fake news in the country ahead of an election next year. The proposed law will be taken up for a debate in the French legislature today. The proposed law creates provisions for government authorities to halt publication of fake news and information. If passed, the new law will also bring social networking websites under its ambit. They will be required to introduce tools and features that will allow users to red flag false information. If a story is found to be false, the data would then be passed on to government authorities. The law will also empower the French government to take foreign broadcasters off air if they are found guilty of attempting to destabilize France.
Mesdames et messieurs les sénateurs, l'étape que nous franchissons aujourd'hui, nous venons d'engager la...
All right, joining me from Paris is my colleague Taha Siddiqui for more on this story. Taha, good to have you on WION Dispatch. Now, the French legislature, we are told, will be taking up this proposed new law. What exactly does this new law entail or provide for?
Well, basically, from what you understand now is this law is aimed at countering fake news. Now, we understand that Macron had that kind of problem during his election campaign last year, where he encountered fake news about himself also. And we saw that there were some news about him having some accounts in the Bahamas, which later on turned out to be fake. So similarly, we've seen that around the world there has been sort of an onslaught of fake news in the media, especially during around election times. And next year, France prepares to go into European Union elections and also local body elections in the coming years. So because of that, Macron's government is trying to bring in this law, which will basically what it does is that it will sort of, if any time there is a news which can be perhaps referred to as fake, or there are suspicions of it being fake, it can be pulled off, and a judge will have to decide within 48 hours whether or not this news is fake, and whether or not this news should continue, or whether those people who are behind this news should be prosecuted.
Now, Taha, we've heard about some similar fake news in the elections last year when Macron was running for presidency. At that time, he was accused of having an offshore account in the Bahamas, which he stoutly denied and described or dismissed as fake news. So in a sense, is this fight against fake news personal for Macron?
Definitely. I mean, as I mentioned, with Bahamas, the case is, because he went through that similar sort of experience. So because of that, he wants to do that. But also at the same time, there are critics of this particular law saying that because of this particular law, it is possible that, some people, the journalists in the French community or in the industry here will perhaps resort to self-censorship because they will be afraid of the judicial process, and that it might curtail press freedom. So because of that, there are some people that are criticizing this law and saying that it might be perceived as an attack on press freedoms, because there is already a law that exists in France which talks about fake news, which tackles with fake news and prosecutes fake news. So this is in some ways sort of further strengthening those laws which might be termed anti-press, and because of this, people might be scared to publish any news, and because of that, we are seeing some criticism. But at the end of the day, because Macron enjoys a majority in the parliament, he might be able to pass this law without any resistance. But there is definitely resistance as far as political opposition is concerned or press freedom organizations are concerned.
Indeed. On that note, Taha Siddiqui in Paris, thank you so much for joining me on WION Dispatch. Appreciate it.